G'day everyone. Last week we put up a video when I got the garden bed ready for the veggies, and we've gone and bought some seedlings, so I'm going to plant them now. We've got tomatoes, just a couple of punnets of seedlings. These ones are beefsteak tomatoes. They're supposed to be really big tomatoes, so they should be good.
Steak.
These ones are Roma tomatoes. They're a lot smaller, but they're beautiful little tomato. So we're going to plant them. A tip with tomatoes is to
Tell them that you love them.
tell them that you love them. When you plant your tomatoes, put the stakes in first and then plant them afterwards. So that way when they grow, you're not putting a stake in and chance hitting the roots or doing any damage to them. Just a little thing that'll help them out later on, because you eventually have to tie them to a stake. Once they start to fruit and they get a bit heavy, they'll need some support. So they need a little stake.
What sort of steak?
Not a beef steak, not a vampire steak. G'day everyone. Last week we put up a video when I got the garden bed ready for the veggies, and we've gone and bought some seedlings, so I'm going to plant them now. We've got tomatoes, just a couple of punnets of seedlings. These ones are beefsteak tomatoes. They're supposed to be really big tomatoes, so they should be good.
Steak.
These ones are Roma tomatoes. They're a lot smaller, but they're beautiful little tomato. So we're going to plant them. A tip with tomatoes is to
Tell them that you love them.
tell them that you love them. When you plant your tomatoes, put the stakes in first and then plant them afterwards. So that way when they grow, you're not putting a stake in and chance hitting the roots or doing any damage to them. Just a little thing that'll help them out later on, because you eventually have to tie them to a stake. Once they start to fruit and they get a bit heavy, they'll need some support. So they need a little stake.
What sort of steak?
Not a beef steak, not a vampire steak, not high stakes at the casino, but a wooden stake. Hey, that was the peacock in the background.
Peahen.
Peahen. Ah! Very sexy call, the peacock. Ah! So, I've got these little stakes.
They're a bit of overkill.
No, not when the tomato gets big. Well, they look big next to it now, but you wait and see, eh? I'll show you in 6 weeks.
They're high stakes.
They are high stakes. Come on, Mama needs a new pair of shoes. So here's some high stakes. Put them into the dirt first. I'll go and hammer them in where I want my tomatoes, and then I'll plant the tomatoes next to them. And here we have spinach. Again, that one's looking a little bit sick because it hasn't been watered today.
Did you get it cheap?
No, I didn't get this one cheap. We just forgot to water it today, so it's looking a bit sad. But once I put it in the garden, I'll give it a really good water, and it should pick up and look really good by tomorrow. It doesn't take much. They don't need a lot of water, but they need watering often. They need watering at least twice a day if they're in these little punnets, because it just doesn't hold much water. So we'll throw them in before they die. That's silver beet, the Ford Hook Giant, which is a lot like spinach. I am's what I am. Thank you, Gus. There's my hammer for the steaks.
You're going to tenderise them?
Tenderise my steaks. Watermelon. I'm not going to put them in this garden. I've got them watermelon for the other garden. So I'll put them over there for now.
Can we put them up higher? Otherwise the chooks will eat them.
Yep. Cucumber.
Cucumber.
Same, I think. I don't really want cucumber in here. Same with the pumpkin. A couple of nice little pumpkin seedlings there. That's the sort of pumpkins we have in Australia. That's a Kent or a Jap pumpkin. Not the big orange ones like America, but they got heaps more meat in them. See how much more flesh they got in there? They got a thin skin, really thick meat or flesh, and then a little pocket of seeds in the middle. So that's what we use mainly. Get them, blue pumpkins or jarrah pumpkins, and butternut pumpkins are the smaller ones that are sort of almost peanut shaped, but about that big. And then we got some lettuce, green mignonette.
Honey, roll over and lettuce on top.
You wish. Green lettuce, so they're still looking pretty good. Put them in, and then we've got an old punnet of capsicum here. They're a bit stretched out and long overdue to be put in. Collette kept forgetting about them and left them outside.
Mhm.
Capsicum. You still recording?
See what happens in the heat of the day.
This morning that was just a dog turd, now it's a cooked egg. Okay, I'm going to put these stakes in. Now we won't be using these stakes straight away, but they're there for when the plant gets bigger and it needs a bit of support. So when the tomato bush gets a little bit bigger and it gets tomatoes on it, if it starts to lean over or wants to fall over a certain way, we just tie it to the stake with a little garden tie and that'll prop it up. Some people use a stick or a tiny little digger or anything, but I just use my fingers. Just make a little hole beside the stake there, squeeze the bottom of the punnet, pop the seedling out, just like that. Just make sure she's nice and stable. Sprinkle a bit of dirt around the top, just like that. And we'll go ahead and do all the rest. Same again, just pop them out nice and gentle.
From little things, big things grow. From little things, big things grow.
There we go. Because stuff like nicotine or any sort of residue on your fingers can affect seeds or the tiny little roots on seedlings. So just for a better chance of success with your seedlings and to help make sure nothing gets sick or dies, just give yourself a good hand wash before you start. Just planted the silver beet behind me, a little row of them. Now to finish it off I'm just going to do some capsicum. Or I think over there you might call them bell peppers. This is a mixture, a little mixture of green and red bell peppers or capsicums. And I'll stick this little tag up here too for them. There we go. Now I'm going to grab a little square bale of hay, just put that on the top to hold the moisture in it. I'll grab that and that should be it.
And I'll grab the hose.
This will help hold the moisture in so they don't dry out as quick. And I'm just using grass hay, but you can use straw or sugarcane mulch is really good. But this is just what I've got here, so that's what I'm using. they're all in the ground. Got stakes for the tomatoes. Everything's planted. Got some hay on top, and just got to hose it now. Give it a good drink. That's really important, that all your new seedlings get a really good drink. All those tiny little sensitive roots need a good bit of water to settle them in, and that should be it. They'll be off and running hopefully. Thanks heaps for joining me. Take time for the simple joys. If you like the video, hit the thumbs up. If you want to see more, hit the bell for notifications, and take time for the simple joys. Bye.